genuinely believe that every happy parent is lying to everyone about enjoying their life and is secretly miserable. Welcome again to my tens and tens of friends. It is me, Teacher TJ, and today I'll be reading a Reddit post. This post is from Lively Linden. It is quite old, but I liked the title so much that I figured, hey, why not just let's give it a read. And it is titled, Is Anyone Else Deliriously Happy to Be a Parent? I recently came across a link to a subreddit for parents who regret having children and spent most of this morning shock reading posts and comments. Girl, me too, when I found that thread, like, whoa, dang, regretful parents, for real. But it says, one thing I saw many people write was that they genuinely believe that every happy parent is lying to everyone about enjoying their life and is secretly miserable. Never been suicidal. Well, no, I take that back when I was a kid. But as an adult and with children, never been or miserable. I do love being a mom. I just wish that I would have chose a better dad. Meaning that so that I was not in survival mode
You're so
or
masculine.
dysregulated as far as like wanting to do the things that I thought I would do with my children, which I do, but I don't do nearly as much as I thought I would in my head before I had kids. But am I regretful parent? No. Am I depressed and hell nah. Like I do love being a mom and I do love my kids. That's what I regretted. I regret my life as a parent. Reddit be sending me like, whoa. It's so unsettling to realize that there are thousands of people out there who think that I am lying about my experience. I was actually out to see Jesus. I ain't lying about my experience. I do love being a mom. I don't like that I don't have enough time, but why she gotta be a liar? Like, cause y'all don't like y'all kids. Maybe if y'all would have raised them right, y'all would like them. I read a great book a while ago, The Happiness Hypothesis, that explained how everyone has a happiness set point. And very few things, like buying a new car, for example, actually improves your day to day happiness. I can confidently say that my daughter has so far permanently increased my happiness set point by a lot. Every day with my little family is such a joy, even as a stay at home mom in the pandemic, which I was straight to in the pandemic. I just, again, wish I would have picked a better partner.
Primarily because I made everything happy. He just came along for the ride.
Things that lost their luster years ago, like holidays and simple outings, are now exciting and full of meaning. I can't wait to have more children. Do any of you share this experience? I assumed it was standard, barring a few exceptions like moms with PBD, postpartum depression, or seriously bad life circumstances. Do many parents really hate their lives and regret their children? Is this a failing of our culture and can anything be done? I ain't not gonna lie and say I don't get disappointed in my children, but I think it must be your parents. My mom never treated me like she hated me. My mom never treated me like we weren't cool. My mom did the best she could in this show. So I didn't feel like she hated me. I didn't feel like she was a regretful parent. And maybe that transferred to my life with my children because I don't treat my children like I hate them. I don't treat my children like I regret them.
Let's read some
Lefty
replies.
Cat 2 says, I'm an older mom. I had my baby at 38. I didn't know that having kids would be so awesome, or I would have tried it earlier. I think I should have waited later. They are so pure, cute, and lively. My life feels full now. I'm often tired and need my breaks so I can understand the other side. But I also felt like holidays and even vacations had become routine, and now they are all exciting again. Pregnancy and birth was so hard, but I would love to have another little one. I say your partner can make you a regretful parent because the majority of men suck. Maybe that's the why the majority of women hate our regretful parents. Now, for me, I've always had an optimistic mindset. I've always seen the glasses half full. I've always been able to make lemonade out of lemons. So, with that being said, while my pregnancy, I imagined my pregnancy being so much happier, so much carefree, so much more loving. I refused to harbor any of the ill feelings that may have come up because of someone else during my pregnancy, because I did not want my child to experience those emotions while I was carrying it. So I literally like always had a mindset for happiness. I told myself as a teenager, a young teenager, that I was going to be happy, and that once I began to live my life on my own, that I would be happy. So at first I was trying to make my life happy by making other people happy who were in my life, but I had to come to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to be happy for me, regardless of anyone else is not. I will be happy for me, and that's where I am today, just experiencing happiness and joy and peace all on my own. And through that journey, I found Master Co, Stephen Master Co, whenever I get to talking about happiness and mindset. And with that, I was able to really build on the aspect of happiness, joy, and regardless of what was going on around me, I can be happy today. So yeah, I don't know about regretful parents. Sorry for y'all. But she said, I would love to have another little one. Do it, says P. Preston 2727. I had my first 3 months shy of 39 and my second on my 41st birthday. It's tiring, yes, but not exhausting. My younger mom friends with two are almost equally pooped. Don't let age stop you if you want another. But Boopy Baby says, I had my kids at 23 and 26. I loved everything about being a young mama. Now I'm getting remarried at 38 and desperately want a baby with my new husband, but I feel too old. And everyone I've asked about this says 38 through 40 is too old and I need to just enjoy my almost 15 to 10-year-old kids. I would say that you're not too old to have kids. I've been told that it's men's sperm that gets old, and that's the issue with having kids, not the woman's ovaries and this whole geriatric pregnancy shit. That's not like really the issue. The issue is older men's crappy ass sperm. But yet and still, women have babies older all the time, and they have healthy, happy babies. So if you want to have another baby and you're 40, I say go for it. Question 9529 says, I just had my first at 38, not too old. Do it if you want to. Facts. Janola 13 says, I had my first at 40 and am already planning to try again in a year. Despite the near constant warnings that every new stage would invite catastrophe, I end up having an easy pregnancy, a typical birth, and a healthy kiddo. I know I got insanely lucky. Not true. Is That's just they want us to think that we need to hurry up and have babies so we can sit down and be tied down to some man in a house. But I shared to say it's possible. At 39, every message I got was too old, can't happen. I have a booby baby reply and says that's exactly the message I'm getting. I'm in good shape, not overweight, but I did have HELP syndrome with my daughter. I don't know what that is.
HELP syndrome is a rare but life threatening pregnancy complication characterized by liver dysfunction and blood abnormalities. It typically occurs in the third trimester or shortly after childbirth and is often considered a severe form of preeclampsia. Whew, so women really do risk their lives having children.
And had an emergency C-section and a preemie. Now being 10 years older, the chance gets even higher. So will you be 42 or so by the time you have your next? Tarzan's Scott says, why not adopt? And I have a boopy baby says, because it's expensive and never guaranteed. Often leads to heartbreak. Wow, really? I know this firsthand from a close friend who spent 8 years trying to adopt, only to have parents change their minds last minute and it falling through. Adopt the baby that's already there, not somebody having a baby that might change their mind. Questions 9529 says, same. I am 38 too, and my baby is 9 months. I'm exhausted, but honestly, I feel at peace and excited for so many things now. And Design Turtle says, I think how happy you are being a parent is a function of how much you wanted kids to begin with. True. And how willing you were to give up freedom, time, luxuries, and life for them. I completely understand someone who wasn't ready, quite ready to be a parent, feeling trapped and miserable. It completely consumes everything in your life. I wanted nothing more in life than to be a mom and was fully ready to give up everything to have a baby. Even on the hard days, I am grateful for every second being a mom to this turkey. Oh. And Naomi underscore now underscore me says, I agree with this. I had my kids at 34 and 38, and they were very much planned. I was ready to graduate from my child free days. Xavier Fain says, this was true for me as well. I would have regretted. So it sounds like most of the happy parents are parents who have waited and had their kids later in life. I personally had my first child when I was 25, which in my community, everybody had already had kids. And I probably would have waited, I think I should have waited a couple of more years, maybe even 3 more years to have my baby. I say 27, 28, even 30 is a good time to have a baby. But anything younger than that, I think that's where the regretful parents come in. And a lot of times most women are younger when they 21, 18, 16, when they have kids. And hell yeah, you should probably regret having kids at 16. You're still a kid. So I think personally who you have children with and what age you have children with, and like they said, the fact that if you wanted to have children determines on whether or not you end up in the happy parent subreddit or the regretful parent subreddit. So consider those things before you go having kids. Jobbly Bobbly says, my children are literally my air. I love every single second. I look at them and already miss them for when they will be gone. I regret for them already the day I'll no longer be here. I'm soaking up every interaction. Of course, sometimes I'm tired, or they are. There can be friction, but regardless, there is love. A love I could only have dreamed of. And like the OP says, I love this. How wonderful. Armanda says, I'm always shocked when people complain about how hard the newborn stage is. Me too. I thought it was hands down the easiest of all stages. Probably so. The first 3 months with my daughter were the best 3 months of my life. I loved every single second of it and thought it was a piece of cake. Of course, my baby didn't have colic. Mine didn't either, and I didn't breastfeed. I did past the first month, which made things easier on me. And I have a husband who equally obsessed with the newborn phase and always wanting to do as much as he can. All of that helped, I'm sure. Exactly. Firefly Galaxy says, I agree with this. Seems like one's experience can vary widely. I wouldn't know if I would go so far as to say I hated the newborn stage, but it was absolutely the most challenging thing I've ever done. Sleep wasn't a thing. It was mostly screaming. I remember hours upon hours at night of just her screaming, and nothing, absolutely nothing we did helped. Whenever we had to go out, people would say, at least she would be sleeping in the car. Nope, never. 99% of the time, it was just screaming the entire trip anywhere. I feel like she was about 3 months old before it stopped seeming like she had an abundant hatred of being alive. She just turned a year, and I feel like this stage is infinitely easier than newborn stage. Yes, she's throwing tantrums. Yes, I have to watch and chase after her. At least I can sleep. At least she's starting to understand our efforts to communicate with us. Despite it being so challenging, though, it's also been the best thing I've ever done. Newborns don't do a lot on purpose, but she still had a big personality, and it was so much fun watching her develop. It's amazing watching her grow now. Bread Pudding said, it's definitely not easy, and it would have been harder if my husband hadn't had a generous leave. But for me, it was just a lack of expectations. For the first few months, people were congratulatory if we left the apartment. Then people started to behave like things should be normal, and they were not. Maui246 says, I think there's many factors to people's dislikes of the newborn stage. I personally wasn't a fan. However, the first 6 weeks I didn't sleep for almost 2 hours at a clip, waking up to build a supply, etc. I had no family or friends nearby for help besides my husband. It's very taxing with no sleep, no help, no clue what you're doing, at least at first time as first time parents. Also, the lack of interaction as newborns is something I needed. Newborns just aren't there yet in life. Frogs go ribbit. Frogs go ribbit says, yeah, my son had acid reflux, which didn't get better until 4 months old. The first 3 months of his life were a blur of getting no sleep because he would scream if he ate a bottle and was placed on his back. I still miss the newborn cuddles and watching TV while he napped on my chest, but I do not miss the crying and the pain and me being able to do nothing about it. And that was the last post from this thread that I am going to read. Parenting is what you make it, as life is what you make it. I have a pretty positive mindset.
Plus, their dad
So
was not all bad.
I felt like I was going to have a great pregnancy. I felt like I was going to have a great parenting experience. And that's what I believe in. And that's how it's going for me. Again, I really feel like you get out what you put in. My child did not have colic or acid reflux or any of those things. I did breastfeed all of my babies. My babies slept at night. When I tell y'all energy, my babies slept at night. I'm a really calm, cool, collective type of person. So my babies were pretty much the same. So for parenting, as far as being a regretful parent, I have moments where I'd be like, oh, I should have waited because I wish I had more funds. As far here we are to the YouTube with my second job because they're like I said, I'm a giver. I love to give, so I love for my babies to have everything, and they're such good kids that I feel like they deserve everything. So I get caught up in that aspect of things, and then by trying to be a provider, I am their provider. Time is not of abundance, but outside of that, I do love being a mom. I do love being a mom. Sorry for those who didn't. Like I said, I had my babies started at 25, so I'm already a homebody, so I didn't miss the club or anything like that. I do regret not being established before I had children because that trying to get established takes time away from them, and it's the time and the money
Along with
as far as
America's
regrets with
current
my children.
condition.
Other than that, I love being a mom. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need y'all to go meditate, read some books, do some knitting, crocheting. Just find something to make you happy. Because children won't make you happy. And believe it or not, I don't know if you can make them happy. You know what I mean? I think you like have to create an environment or a space where they feel loved and accepted and comfortable, but and provide them with things that teach them to love themselves, but and enjoy themselves, but you can't make them happy. They can't make you happy. But I think you should learn to be happy within yourself and teach them how to be happy and love and appreciate themselves. So I'm sorry, I cannot side on the side of the regretfulness. And I am a happy parent. Come for me in my comments. I'm gonna tell you what you should read to help get you together. Cause not me, girl. I don't regret my kids. I like I said, I wish I had more money and time. But even if I had more money and time, I would probably still feel like I wish I had more money and time. Right now, it's trying to find a balance of stuff going on autopilot so that I can have more money and time. But the fact of the matter is, time is steadily going, and they're going to be grown soon. But that's all I got on this one. Let me know how y'all feel. Are y'all regretful parents out there? If you are, keep watching. I'm gonna try to help get you together. If you're not, good for you. Again, that's all I got on this one. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye, 10. Shawty, you today I will be reading a Reddit post. But I liked the title so much that I figured, hey, why not? Just let's give it a try. Let's give it a read. But I have a Boopy Baby says I had no, I already read that. Question of a great pregnancy, a great pregnancy.